like in, say,
which is one of the things
football.
I enjoy about rugby league, to be honest.
Yeah.
So maybe you can't have your cake and eat it.
Well, this is the problem we face, isn't it?
Yeah. We can't dish out $3 million contracts to 18-year-old halfbacks willy-nilly, can we? A la Kalen Ponga. Just we don't have the cash to do that, to secure that sort of talent and those people that you would want to see coming through.
No.
It just doesn't exist, does it? Right. Super Brew. There was a Super Brew competition.
Oh, you've looked at the results?
Yeah, I have looked at the results, Mark.
I must admit that...
Fully prepared for this week's podcast.
Because during the season, I sort of keep track of our predictions as like a bit for the show.
Yeah.
Whereas this isn't the same, so I haven't. So I forgot to make them.
Well,
because if I'm not looking at the rundowns when I'm doing the edits, and that's when I normally do it. Yeah. Then I'm not doing it. So
I'll get to how you and I got on in a minute. We'll talk about the winners first of all, because it is fairly safe to say that you and I didn't win for pretty similar reasons. In third place, Darren Garner with 8.5 points. Chris McEwen came second with 9 points, but fractionally ahead of him, and this is another new name on me, was Sean Starkin, who was Sean 45. He got 9 points and won it. So congratulations, Mr. Starkin, whoever you may be. That's phenomenal work.
Thanks for getting involved.
Absolutely. You may be interested to learn that I finished one place above you in 16th, and you were 17th. Mark.
Yeah, you did.
So that was a victory we'll call it a victory for Yorkshire.
Okay.
Take
what you can.
I certainly will. Right, that's all the games
Michael Sullivan.
You horrible boy. Right, that's all the Four Nations stuff taken care of. I'm going to go for a quick week, and when we get back, we will wrap up the show. Okay, so that's the end of the penultimate show of our third series. You look so tired.
Yeah.
Poor thing. And this is an early finish for us as well. We're getting an early dart tonight. So all that remains is for us to deliver to you the festive special, if one of us can stay awake for long enough to do so. That'll be coming up, as we said, on the 28th of December, which is a Wednesday, so that'll go up on the morning of the 29th, give or take.
So really, we need a deadline for questions coming in, don't we?
We do. When would you like that deadline to be? When do you think? Should we say the 18th?
No, let's...
Do you want to extend it a bit further out? I don't want to encroach into holiday time too much for people, or you, or me.
Well, let's say by Boxing Day.
Fantastic. So if you can get your Ask SLP questions into us by Boxing Day, then they will be part of the show, and it can literally be anything, rugby league or non-rugby league, and we just have a good old festive time, really, don't we, with the end of season special. But this is the last proper episode before we come back in around about late January, early February with all the pre-season stuff that we love to do for you guys. So, Mark, SLP recommends this week.
I started putting together stuff for our predictions show, getting the squads in order, because a few teams have released their squad numbers, haven't they?
Very good. I look forward to my spreadsheet.
Yeah. It'll be exciting.
I can't wait. It was brilliant last year. I had a right good time reading through it.
Okay.
It was awesome. It was like proper great. It was lovely reading. I really enjoyed it. I have nothing to recommend this week, Mark. Nothing is apart from, remembering the gender of your child. I have nothing to recommend this week. So it all falls to you, mate. The final 5 minutes of the show lives and dies on your recommendation. What have you got for us?
I've been watching. I'm a bit late to the party on it, but we had them recorded.
Right.
I hope, for the sake of who I'm recommending it, anyone who picks it up off the recommendation, you can get them all on like Catch Up on iPlayer or something like that. But I've been watching The Missing on BBC One.
Right.
It's actually quite a decent show. The first episode was like I wasn't sure about it, and then but Emma wanted to watch the second one anyway, so we watched it, and it turned like pretty quickly from being completely obvious to a bit of a guessing game, and
was this the
really
partially set in France or something?
There is French characters, but it's mostly set in Germany.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I know how it ends, you better be nice to me.
How do you know how it ends?
It's my old dad. I told you before we started this segment, I was like, oh, my dad was telling me about that. I now fully recall the conversation I had with my dad.
Yet?
It has for my dad.
Maybe he's watched ahead then.
Yeah.
I think it was probably based on something else.
I'm not going to give any more away. I'm not that sort of a guy, but...
No, I think people should watch it. I think
absolutely.
It is quite good, actually.
You've reminded me that I need to go back on... Is it BBC?
Yeah.
You're going to have to look back on iPlayer and find it then, aren't you, I think? I need to do that too.
Yeah, I don't know if it goes back all the way to the first episode. That's all I'll be worried about.
I think if you've got some sort of dodgy streaming device, you'll be able to fish it out from somewhere, though.
Potentially.
Absolutely. You've just reminded me I do have an SLP recommend.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. You've prompted me. This weekend, it was a little 2-part mini-series. It's about 4 or 5 years old, but it's called Appropriate Adult, and it's got one of my favourite actors in it, and I can never remember his name. Who's the guy in The Affair who's really English but always has an American accent?
Oh, Dominic West.
In The Wire. Dominic West.
The Affair starts again tonight.
It does.
Quite
I still haven't watched the first 2 series.
Oh, right. You should. It's good.
Get into that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I buy it, but yeah. This is the guy that watches Game of Thrones. I'm not sure if I buy it. I don't know if
you can watch it on...
Catch Up.
Yeah.
Appropriate Adult is a 2-part miniseries. You can definitely get it on the ITV hub. It's all to do with the interactions between the woman who was the appropriate adult during the Fred and Rose West investigations and the murder. So whilst Fred must have been interviewed for all the murders that he committed in Gloucester about 1994, Dominic West plays Fred West, and there's a lady who I recognise but I don't know where from, who plays she's not a social worker, she's a trainee social worker,
right,
but she plays the role of the appropriate adult, who is basically someone who goes into police interviews to make sure that potentially a interviewee with learning difficulties is fully understood. They just basically referee impartially for this person, and she was Fred West's appropriate adult, and it's about their relationship. It's really interesting. It's obviously quite heavy-duty subject matter, and you can almost see it taking a toll on particularly Dominic West, who plays Fred West in this. But it was very powerful and very enjoyable. Not something I would watch for light entertainment on a Friday night, but appropriate adult as well.
That brings me to another thing that actually I watched Boys in the Hood for the first ever time on Saturday night when it was showing on BBC. But we turned the normal TV back on just before it started,
right?
Because we've been watching a couple of documentaries about gun violence in America or gun fatalities in America and policing in America and that sort of thing. So actually it rolled quite neatly into that, and the sort of stories that it highlights and the way the film works, you could just do it again today.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't... It's lost none of its relevance, and that's saddening. That it's lost none of its relevance in 25 years. Yeah. 1991 the film was made. Yeah.
Sad. Very sad.
Very much so.
I need to watch that again. I've not seen it for about 10 years,
Yeah.
Very good.
Stands up very, very well.
Fantastic. So we've actually managed to pull a few recommendations out, haven't we?
There you go.
Boys in the Hood, Appropriate Adult, and The Missing.
I think Morrison's have discontinued those pies, though.
What?
Yeah, I know, after I recommended them.
We've got a pile of them here in the part of my house devoted to free shit we get from the podcast.
I've not been able to see him. Not seen him since, and Dr. Bob went looking and he hasn't had him.
Did you see the little bit of photoshopping that Don Hodgson did on Dr. Bob's behalf?
Yeah.
He's been nominated for an award to do with training, I believe.
Yeah, well, he was doing some educational stuff today, was Dr. Bob.
Right.
Yeah.
I've only seen the Don Hodgson...
It's very much a legend.
Doctor thing, yeah, absolutely. So.
He's got a charity thing coming up, actually. Yeah, next weekend, where he's going to walk over pieces of Lego.
How many? That's going to hurt.
Yeah. So...
that's a lot. Ow!
Go to his Twitter feed anyway, anyone who's interested in sponsoring him. It's towards like childhood cancer charities. I can't remember the exact specifics, I'm afraid.
You can't remember how long a piece... I'm going to go straight to Twitter after this.
Yeah.
But was it like a long distance?
I can't remember. It's about 2 or 3 weeks ago that I looked at it and sponsored him. So, but anyone wants to
I'm definitely
get on board with that, check out his...
Will he be barefoot? Obviously. Will he have socks on?
Well, you'd think he'd have to be barefoot. Otherwise, it's not really doing much, is he?
Ow!
Well, shoes would be pointless. You'd just be breaking some kid's Lego. That's horrible.
Yeah, but fuck, that's going to really hurt.
Well, that's the whole idea.
I know, but it just seems a bit extreme.
Did it not hurt you running 4 10Ks or whatever it was you did in the end?
Well, yeah, but can you not just climb a mountain? I feel... Well, good for you, Bob. That's
Can
insane.
you not just climb a mountain? That sounds easier.
It does. I think I'd rather go up Snowdon than walk across. Look, I'm going to go to Twitter and find out how far it is. If it's like 3 feet of Lego, then fine. I'll let him off with that. That's, good work. But if he's doing what if he's doing 100 yards of Lego bricks?
He's got to jump up and down on the spot.
That's really going to hurt.
Yeah.
You don't have to... Look, you see that Lego down there? That's big Duplo, right? And that hurts to stand on. Regular Lego is a lot sharper and pointier than that.
I'm aware of Lego hurting your feet. I was a child once. I had Lego.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to stand on it, would you?
No, I didn't like it back then, so I wouldn't. That's why it's a good thing that he's doing.
I just want Bob to be okay.
He will be okay, Tom. It's okay.
Do you promise?
I promise there'll be lots of trained medical people around him to help.
Of course, yeah. Actually, if you're going to undertake that sort of thing, he's in the right line of work, isn't he? Get a bit of mates rates if he hurts his foot and requires a graft of some kind. Right, we are falling down a rabbit hole here. We're going away for a few weeks. We'll be back end of December with a Christmas Ask SLP special. Thank you so much for listening to this full third series of the Super League pod. If you don't catch us at Christmas, we'll be back in the new year to bring you the fourth and best series of your favourite rugby league podcast, the Super League Pod. Saucy Pete.
So for those people who don't know the tale already, it must be 2 years ago or so.
It must be 2 years ago that we told the tale. It must be 10 years since I was given it as a nickname. In another, it feels like a different life to me.
Because I've only known King of the Bears.
King of the Bears is that's a complete. I think we won't go to that one yet. Saucy Pete happened when I was working. I worked in the Lake District I worked in social care. So I worked at a residential boarding school for kids with EBD. Educate. Yeah, well, that's not very politically correct, but yeah, basic little toe rags. And on a staff night out to Kendal, we ended up at a house party, a few of us, and there was a gentleman who was rolling his own cigarettes, shall we say, and I walked through the door with a group of our friends, and obviously I had a shaved head and a beard, and I'm not the smallest guy in the world, but I'm not saying I'm not Jason Taumalolo, but I'm the biggish guy, and he just looks up from his old Holborn and goes, "You look like a wrestler. Let's come up with a wrestler name for you." And then between him and then 3 or 4 of my colleagues, they decided to come up with a wrestler name for me. And what they landed on was Saucy Pete, which was hilarious for the night. That's quite a funny little nickname, but it stuck and it stayed with me through work. And I got given for Secret Santa, I got given a shirt with Saucy written on the back because it got shortened. It didn't say stay as Saucy Pete. It got shortened to fucking Saucy. So whenever I went anywhere, here comes Saucy, and is Saucy coming with us? And I walk into the pub.
If anything, Saucy makes more sense than Saucy Pete.
I know, but Saucy Pete was kind of
You could explain
that away,
without
but then
having to take leave.
Yeah, but then you'd walk into a bar and people are like, "Well, why do they call you Saucy?" I'm like, it just makes you sound like that. So it makes me feel like, do you remember Chinese Alan from fucking Gavin and Stacey? Chinese. It made it feel like it was something I'd created, and that people were like, he's a bit of a dickhead. He calls himself Saucy, and it was nothing. Fucking ruined my life for about 3 years, mate. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. I hated being Saucy Pete. I hated being Saucy even more. I'd prefer, much happier being King of the Bears. Absolutely, much happier.